Hi, this is Kalyan Karmakar, and welcome to Foodocracy for Her. Foodocracy for Her is my podcast where I speak to women doing some really exciting world in the world of food. And I think that many fabulous things have happened over the last year and a half. And today I'm going to speak to Sonali Naik, who's at the other end of Mumbai, South Mumbai. I'm in Bandra. She's very much a Mumbai girl, and such a pleasure to have you on, Sonali. So welcome,
Pleasure to be here.
and thanks for your time. So,
Absolutely.
before we get into the topic of the chat and the discussion and her pandemic baby, Divine Flavor, which she and her childhood best friend Mehul they run it together. And but before we get into all of that, Sonali is a diehard foodie. So tell people a bit about Diwali in Mumbai, and what's all the food thing to look forward to then, because we just finished Diwali. So
Yeah.
would love to hear from you. What's
Diwali in Mumbai is for me is aaji's farai. We would make or both my grandmoms, we would make chakli and kachori and coconut laddus and all these things at home, and then we'd be giving it to everybody in the building. And I don't hold back in Diwali. I love eating my farar in Diwali. I sometimes eat it for breakfast also. So Diwali
so
was it's a meeting people time. It's food
exactly?
time. Yeah.
I'm from outside Mumbai. Though I've been in Mumbai for 20 years, but Diwali in Calcutta was not that big. But would it be wrong to say that Diwali is probably the biggest festival in Mumbai because it's sort of across community, like Ganesh Chaturthi also to a minute, Maharashtrian community, Christmas Eve, this thing. But Diwali
Safe
is
to
sort of
say that.
pan. Yeah.
Absolutely safe
I mean,
to
that's
say
a
that.
place where offices have the biggest holidays, longest holidays, and
Yeah. Safe to say that. Although now I've noticed even Ganesh Chaturthi has been
yes, yes,
is being celebrated by all communities,
yeah, yeah,
everybody. But this year I think Diwali was even bigger because people
yeah,
got out after the pandemic,
yes,
met
yes,
friends.
and also Diwali is a very in-home thing. Like Ganesh Chaturthi is also the while it's in-home,
Pandals.
but there's also the pandal and all of
Yeah.
that. But Diwali, okay. Now, what Sonali does is also very interesting because there is a bit of a reflection in terms of how Diwali is changing, because Diwali earlier was about the tradition thing, like she's Maharashtrian, so it's what they call the faral and the chakli and the larus and til larus and stuff, which is beautiful. Then I think as commercialization happened and as people wanted to celebrate more and this thing, then there became more lavish gifts, like ghee laden motichur laddus and chocolates and this that, and it was really about an excess, which is good, of course. Like she said, she didn't hold back. But I think in the last couple of years, we've become a bit more conscious about what we are eating. Like, for example, we are going back to traditional practices. Like, I must tell you, Sonali, that on Diwali, this Chaitanya restaurant, I mean, you're a foodie. Have you been to Chaitanya at Worli,
Yes.
Prabhadevi?
Yeah.
So they were very kind enough to send me a Diwali basket, and they call it Malwani Meva. So, which is apparently the sort of stuff which I have in Malwan. And they sent a couple of chaklis and farsan and all that, and lots of types of ladus, tin ladus. I'm not a big fan of the sweet stuff, so I normally like the chaklis and all. But there were two chaklis, because there are many, many packs. So I started having the ladus, and it was so good. There was black sesame, then there was bundi, then there was rice, which is like a Bengal ka moa, and I think most of it was sweetened with jaggery and very marginal sweetness. So
Yes.
and then more or less on the same day, Sonali was kind enough to drive down to the suburbs, and she got us some of her granola, which we were introduced to last year. And so this is her brand, Divine Flavor. After so many interviews by now, I've learned where to hold the packaging and all that. Like in front of, well, earlier I was like, okay, I'm holding it here, it's not showing. So this Divine Flavor, like last year we came across her brand. Then she also took part in the Home Chefies 2021 awards, and she was in the top 10 finalists in the new category coming up in Home Chefs, which is of products and food products and so on. And I must say that when we had it last year, the fact that granolas are made by someone at home, and yeah, and you can see what has been used, and a lot of indigenous ingredients like ragi and so on, or jaggery and date, rather than say ingredients which you don't understand. Then at my request, she made me one which is completely without sugar as well. And I've seen this trend this year in Diwali giftings, where people are sort of giving, granola, they're giving traditional laddus, they're giving more of dry fruits perhaps. So in a way, what you've done is sort of as a precursor to a trend. I mean, you did it last year, and it's sort of becoming trend now. So Sonali, now that's enough of me talking. Tell me about yourself, and how did Divine Flavor happen, and how did someone who's like a diehard foodie, become a granola maker? Because you're also an interior designer by qualification.
Yes, that's true. Divine came about, it's a lockdown baby completely. And I was out of work. My whole team had run away to the village because they all live here in these rented rooms.
Yes.
In addition to that, I worked really hard through 2019 to lose a lot of weight. And one of the things I would eat for breakfast would be overnight oats. And this was extremely filling and energy fueling for me, to go through the rest of the day. And then I was trying of thinking if I can find something like this in the supermarkets. When I went to look, I didn't find anything which had no sugar, refined sugar, or had all these emulsifiers and preservatives and all these alphabet number ingredients. And I felt like it's a great thing to explore, to make something which people can eat for breakfast as a snack, which is homemade, pure, has no unidentifiable ingredients. And it's also something that
In fact, you
if you
write it
eat it,
all down over here. You
yes,
you
everything's at
you
the
you
back.
mention everything very 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 clearly, including the
Yeah,
FSSAI standards and all that.
every
Yeah.
single ingredient in there is written on the packet. And we got a amazing response in the first month itself. And I said,
But
okay, well,
but I want to ask you, sorry for interjecting, but were you into cooking before one? And two is, even if you
I,
are into cooking, I mean, muesli is not something which one sort of makes, right? I mean, I can
yeah.
understand if it's a poha, or you're making a bhel mix. So
So
tell
I've
us a bit
actually
about.
been asked this before because I
Huh,
have been cooking with both my ajis since I was a kid. I would be
both
sitting
your
in the kitchen.
grandmoms,
Yes, sorry,
grandmoms, yes.
ajis, yeah. And my nani and my grandmom, who's still here now, she's 92. Um,
Oh, so's my grandmom, 92.
wow. Yeah, they're very strong. They're very, very strong and
Hats
resilient.
off to them.
Yes. They're both amazing cooks, and I would be in the kitchen watching them since I was a kid. So I have been cooking pretty much since I could reach the gas stove. I've been cooking. Yeah. So the muesli came about just like that. I said, look, I'm putting these things in my overnight oats. What
Huh.
if I bake this, make it a little like something that people can, you can even soak it in your milk overnight. You can sprinkle it on
Hmm.
some dahi, you can, so it just came about from what I was eating itself in that entire
Okay.
period of me losing weight. And for me, losing weight is not the goal. The goal
Hmm.
is to eat cleaner and know what you're eating,
Hmm.
know the ingredients that go into what you're eating.
Hmm.
So that's how it came about, because I couldn't find anything like it. There are granolas that you can find in the supermarket, but they all have all these additives,
True.
preservatives, all this stuff.
Yeah, and some of the locally made ones, sometimes the supply was not that consistent, or the labeling earlier was not that clear. I think, with FSSAI asking for home chefs to also get licensed, and I think also folks like you said, I mean,
Yes.
this is what you were eating and what you were consuming. So you probably had people like you in mind. Where did the idea of oats come about in the beginning to you? Was it like a dietitian? Was it a doctor? Or did you sort of read about it when you did it for yourself? You know,
I did a lot of research on foods that aren't that I didn't want to give up a single food group. I don't believe
Okay.
in giving up carbs, giving up this, giving up that. So I never gave up any food group. What I decided was I want to see the best foods in all the different food groups. And oats is a very low GI. On the
Hmm.
glycemic index, it's very low, which means
Hmm.
it'll keep giving you bursts of energy instead of just leaving out the energy at one time and then
Hmm.
you're hungry again. So it keeps you full for longer. So that's how
Hmm.
oats came about. I was just reading about what I can eat for breakfast because I used to eat just a fruit and go and work
Hmm.
out, and I would halfway through my workout I would be half dead. So I was like, I need some carb in the morning to fuel me to go forward. And I don't
Hmm.
want to eat bread. And I mean, I don't mind. I love bread. Who
Hmm.
doesn't? All Bombay girls love cow and bread.
Yes,
But
Calcutta boys
every day
also.
it's different. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Every day it's not sustainable to eat bread in the morning. So I
Hmm.
wanted something else.
So, in a diet which is sort of based with this, so you have it as a granola as a breakfast or whatever, and then you have whatever are your regular meals later, right?
Yeah,
I
regular
mean, what?
lunch, roti, sabzi, dinner, I'll eat
Uh,
some grilled meat and some veggies and things.
hmm, hmm,
Regular, regular. In fact, my mom loves
huh.
to eat the granola in a little bowl just by itself with her tea in the evening.
Even
That's
I
her
did
snack.
that with your granola, or even granolas in general, with a bit of dahi, bit of cut fruit, sometimes in the evening, or sometimes as a dessert substitute. I mean, there are points of view on whether dahi should be at night or granola should be at night, but maybe better than a gulab jamun.
Yeah,
But
yeah, of course.
so okay, so now let's let's go back to 2020. When did you start this? When in 2020 did you?
We launched on 11th October.
11th October. And I do remember that, I mean, I do know that you went national because one of our judges for Home Chef is Prabha Narasimhan. I think while she was judging, she came across your entry. So she suddenly stopped her judging and placed an order because at that point, even now probably she's in Chennai. And she later told me,
Chennai.
I ordered from the Granola Girl. I said, "Oh, Granola Girl, there's okay." Yeah, because you're not supposed to discuss too much of the people who are judging and all that, but also coordinator. So you ship nationally,
Yes.
and how do people know about you? Where do you sort of
So we
list
recently
yourself?
launched our website.
Okay,
We recently launched our own website, so place orders can be placed
on
online, and
Divine
we're on
Flavors.
Instagram, Facebook, regular stuff, and people can even WhatsApp us. In fact, a couple of corporates WhatsApped us and got in touch with us for Diwali gifting, for
Yeah.
corporate gifting. So
So
throughout
does
all,
that work well? Because a lot of people who are sort of starting home chef based sort of businesses, whether it's cooking or like new products, they might sometimes wonder, should we list ourselves on retail sites or is our own social media enough? So what is your experience like? I mean, have you listed at any of the other retail sites like Big Basket, Amazon, anything like that at this point, or is it more uh,
so
your own?
since the quantities we make, this is my experience. Since the
And this from
quantities,
home, what you're doing,
yeah,
everything's from.
yeah.
Yeah.
So since the quantities we make are much lesser, our input costs are obviously higher than
Yes.
a huge company that has a
Yeah.
manufacturing facility and things like that. So it becomes very difficult to list on Amazon, Big Basket because they take a lot. Their
Hmm.
percentages are high. Even Zomato, Swiggy, etc. Their percentages are high. So
Hmm.
I spent about a month and I built my own website.
Hmm.
And I did the whole
Plus, you're a design person. You have a bit of a
yes, the
inner
labels and all are
advantage.
done by me only.
I was saying you're going to say interior advantage, but inner advantage. So yeah. So you did your own labeling and all. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you feel that this is a sustainable mode of business for the moment because, like you
yeah.
said, that yeah. I mean, when you're doing your own things, the expenses are much higher for a smaller quantity sort of thing because you don't want to compromise on quality.
Quality. Like even when you're doing things like gifting and all,
Yeah.
the corporates who approach need to realize that you're not going to a big company. You're going to
Yes.
someone at home. So the boxes and all those things are going to cost more because we're not buying 10,000 of them
Yes.
or 20,000 of them. So, these things. But the website is doing surprisingly well because I think people find it
That's
easier
right.
to
Yeah.
just order online
Yeah.
because the
The-
WhatsApp was a lot of back and forth. Huh, this,
Isn't doesn't Instagram also offer a thing of like my wife Kenas is a mad online shopper. So at any point, I ask her, "What are you doing?" And I'm shopping. So she often orders from Instagram as well. I think. I mean, I need to go to the local kirana shop. I'm a bit old-fashioned, but you know.
I only got tech savvy for this whole venture. Before that,
uh,
even I'm, but
so in a way, you
Instagram
reinvented yourself
completely
because your
different
interior
world.
design work was very people work, right? You'd meet your client, then you'd have your workmen at the site, all of that. To now, this is like in your house. I don't know whether it's one room and one laptop, and it's a
It's
completely
yeah, it's
different.
one room with my laptop setup and my kitchen.
So did it feel difficult in the beginning? Because as an interior designer, and I'm asking you this because I used to work in market research for years before I got into food writing professionally, and it took me a bit of while to adjust from being in a buzz of an office environment to sitting alone. At that time, not even with two cats, and of course, Canas was going to work. Did you find it? And I chose it. This was sort of thrust upon you. The lockdown was thrust upon all of us by
Yeah.
the pandemic. But did you find it difficult to adjust?
Initially, so obviously we started in October. I started research for this somewhere around July or June.
Hmm.
Till then, I was feeling very overwhelmed. Obviously, I think
Yes,
we all were.
all of us, right?
All
Yes.
of us were. And then I said, I was working out every day at home. I was doing all this. I was like,
You
I
can't go to
can't
gym
do.
also.
Yeah, which was the worst thing for me
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that was my happy
yeah.
place.
Of course. No, I understand. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know when my team is going to come back. And
Uh,
by then, unfortunately, I had lost two of my team members to COVID.
oh,
And I was like, this is not looking very good and very
uh,
promising.
uh.
And initially, when we started, it was difficult and overwhelming to even make 10 packets in a day because the
Was it
process,
physically challenging or emotionally overwhelming?
both,
Uh,
both, it was both. And at that time, when I started, even though Mehul could come sometimes to help, he still had to work from home.
yeah, because he's in the commodities
Yeah. So
market.
it had become, so then now my mom's become a pro.
Uh,
My house help, right, I don't call him my house help, he's like a brother to me. He's been there since I was a child. He has become a pro. So and my grandmom counts all the packets and she's like, oh,
so have you
you're
given them shares or no in your company?
even you're asking me this. All my full family is like, how much are you paying them?
Oh,
Have they got stake in your company? I said, let it earn
sweat
that way first.
sweat equity. That's a good. You should tell them. Yeah,
Yeah,
sweat
that's what.
equity means that in the beginning you invest without any hope of return,
Yeah.
but well, except maybe the smile. Okay, now what I'm very interested in is that just to because I'm also using you as a sort of test case for people who want to start off and this thing. So there are different flavors. Like even what you sent recently, there's kaju pista, there is dark chocolate walnut, seed and coconut, hazelnut. Some of these have been your flavors right from the beginning. So how did you? We now know that how you decided on granola because overnight oats was working well for you and you were making your own combinations and you felt that there's a market for something like this because there's no supply and you identified that and you came into it. But how? What next in terms of for people in food, it next comes into sort of planning your menu or portfolio or product mix. So uh, two things. Did you at that point decide that I'm going to be in granola for now and that's it? And if so, how would the flavors? How did you choose the flavors?
So as I do most things, I do what I like to do.
Mhm.
And at that time, things had just about opened up. So VFast was working. So I knew that there are certain people that I can send to, and I was sending small batches to people to ask them for feedback.
Yes.
So I got feedback from people. What I tried to do was not go only to family because family is biased.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I tried to do was I asked family and family friends to give me their friends' addresses.
Yeah.
And I asked for feedback from quite a few people. I even gave it in my building.
And
And
see, not granola is again something which not everyone has. Like for example, if you were making idli mixes, for example, everyone has idlis.
yeah,
So they'll have a point of view on what's good, bad, ugly. But granola, I'm sure for a lot of people who experimented with sampled, it would be a bit of a new thing, right? I mean, maybe thoda bahut in a hotel buffet they might have had and this that, but
Yeah, it was a new thing, and many people were not sure what it was called, what it was made of, and at that time
uh,
there was no labeling or anything. So I had to explain to a lot of people how they can eat it. It's
and also at
healthy.
that time people were very conscious about like anything coming from outside, it would be
Exactly.
because of the
Yeah.
COVID fears.
Yeah. Yeah. So I this is how I tried, and then family then came after that,
Uh,
and we sent it out to family. Mehul sent it out to some of his friends. I sent it to some of my friends, and we got a lot of feedback, good and bad, which is a good thing. And that's how we just tweaked, and then it took 3 months. And now we're at a stage where if we have to develop a new flavor, we can do it in a matter of 2 weeks because we know what works and what doesn't work. That's how we came up with the Kaju Pista for Diwali
uh,
because we said we'll do something special just for Diwali,
yeah.
and we gave it to I can't remember. We gave it to somebody to try, and I remember somebody saying, "I felt like I was eating kheer for breakfast." I said, "That's
The
exactly what I wanted."
positive stuff.
Yeah,
Sorry, I haven't opened the packs yet myself, these packs, but yeah. And that's interesting because flavor mixes and stuff like that because that's a very important thing to understand what works, what doesn't work. Another important thing, especially in a packaged product which you're doing, like in a way it's FMCG, is consistency. Again, going back to an idli thing, if you're going to an UDP, you don't mind if like one day the sambar sweetness is slightly more, slightly less.
yeah,
The idli is one day a bit softer, a bit tougher, but when it's coming out of a packet, then people expect consistency. And consistency is something which is a bit hard to deliver for a home operation. So how do you ensure that? Because I know I've tried your products multiple times, so that consistency is there. I've shared it sometimes with our friends who've loved it. So how do you maintain that consistency?
that was a process. So the good thing about Mehul and I is we're very meticulous. Everything is
Okay.
an Excel sheet.
Uh-huh.
Everything is an Excel sheet.
So
So
you're
we
not like
have
others. Oh, I'm a creative person. I can't like don't
in
box me.
different aspects, yes. But in this, I was like, it can't taste different, when I give the second packet to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's how people will keep ordering.
Yes. Yes.
So we have like a set recipe. We follow it exactly to the T. Everybody knows no 1 gram off, 2 grams off, not allowed. I'm very, very OCD about these things. And we have
Yes.
the recipes stuck on my wall in the kitchen. So that's how we got to doing it. All Excel sheets are all up in my kitchen on the wall.
But that's fabulous. Now, tell me, see the initial thing you sampled it, and then the orders came, and people saw it on Instagram, people trying, and all of that. And then, how did the business grow for you? Is it more of repeat, or is it more of fresh? This thing, because granola is something which is a very habit thing, like cereal, and people
Yes.
normally tend to stick to brands or stuff like that. So did you see that happening for you?
Yeah, in fact, we were very surprised with the amount of repeat orders, and not only from Bombay, from places like Delhi, Kerala, and like our seed and coconut is a super hit in Kerala. And
Yes,
yeah, there were quite a few repeat customers even in Bombay. And so Instagram is what has helped us a lot, for
that's
sure.
absolutely.
For sure. And we also run our ads and things like that on Instagram, whatever we can, little bit budget for the ads.
Hmm.
And Instagram has definitely helped us get new customers as well, for sure. But we do have our few who always order monthly. So we're even trying to see if we can set up some sort of a subscription plan on the website for them and things
Hmm.
like that. Yeah.
But it makes sense because every business, finally, like they say that it looks for 80-20 mix of 80 of regular customers and 20 of new,
New.
even for
Yeah.
big businesses and big companies. Of course, at a growth phase, you're looking at new customers as well. Now,
Yeah.
the thing about there are two ways where home chefs build their brands. Either, and in most cases, it's about the person. So straight away a few names which come to mind in Mumbai, Marina Balakrishnan or Madhuk Mugrelia, or so on. Or Jasmine, who does Namak Swad Anusar, or Shireen Mehta of Kanak. They, of course, no,
Yeah.
Shireen's not a home chef anymore. Or building it around the brand. Like for Marina, it's both. It's Utupura as well as Marina. For you, when I go through your Instagram and everything, Sonali, I see it's more about Divine Flavour than Sonali and Mehul, or Mehul and Sonali. Is that a conscious call you guys took? And if so, I'd like to know why. And how's it work for you?
So yeah, Mehul and I have a lot of arguments about this. Mehul's like, you are the face of the brand. You should be
Uh,
more on the page. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this yet. And he hates being on the camera, and he's not that kind of a person. He likes being in the back. But I know I would even I would like to proactively be more active on the page and have my face out there. But I just need to get used to it. And also, I'm doing so much work that by the end of the day, I'm so tired and it shows on my face. And I just
yes.
need to chalk out the time to be able to, do some reels and things like that. Because it's just two of us.
Yeah,
And
I
we are
know.
marketing, we are shooting, we are making everything.
No, hats off to you guys. In fact, this Diwali, I took a bit of a break from social media. I mean, not like complete break. Occasionally, I would check like if anyone has left a comment on my stuff, which I need to answer. But otherwise, and I know what you mean, because and you are running a business. I mean, there are times when at night I'm having something and and I'm just, because for me it's very spontaneous. But I know that at that time, I'm looking tired. I'm wearing a Gharka t-shirt, and but the important thing is, I would then like to know, what has your experience been? Because right now it's almost like people feel, and a lot of us have also said that it's important to put yourself over front. I mean, just to the same, I mean, that's how you, in your case, differentiate yourself from a Bagri or a Kellogg, or something like that. I mean, there are companies, while here is this thing. So how has this worked for you? Do you think that the personal connect is still happening? And if so, how do you build a personal connect?
For us, the personal connect was happening because we were getting all orders on WhatsApp right up until now.
Hmm.
So I've spoken to so many new people over the last 1 year, and I feel like there's a very weird kind of I don't know what to call it, but there's some sort of thing attached to putting your face on Instagram. So
No,
I
I know
feel
it's the other way. Yeah, it's become like
I feel my
uh,
brand should,
yes,
speak for itself, because why should my face get me more sales? It's
yeah.
my product that should get me more sales. And over the last year, speaking to so many people, getting such good feedback. In fact, last year was our first Diwali, and we were like not sleeping. We were working from 9 in the morning to 11 at night, and we were like
Uh,
burnt out, and we loved it. We loved it. So I like the fact that I was getting to talk to so many people, but it was getting very difficult to keep it all on WhatsApp. Hence, we decided to launch the website and things like that. But we're getting new subscribers, so we're sending emails to them, thanking them for subscribing, and it's not like a very automated thing because it's us behind the computer. It's not like
yeah.
a system generated thing.
So there'll be a difference in each email, even if it's like a slight bit or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
So no, I'm glad that you brought this out, and when I do these interviews, I mean, they're meant to be sort of case studies and examples to people. So people have come across cases where they have built successful brands around them, but and which is one way. But what you've shown is that there's another way of building a brand, which is maybe around your product, or something like that. And I mean, each is really possible. So it's
yeah,
I think it's to each person what works for them, what excites them. Like you said, about your product is what excites you. So you started in October, and now we are in next October, so which is no November. So
November. Yeah.
13 months. So you've completed a year. So congratulations.
Thank
Um,
you.
um, if you think of where you are today, and if you go back to October 2020, could you have any way foreseen how things are now?
No, I thought honestly, I'm not being a skeptical person, but I thought I'll end up only giving orders to family whenever they order.
Uh,
And I have to thank you because the home chefis was a very big thing for us to show us that what we're doing is good and what we're doing is right. And that helped us really get like an impetus to plan ahead. And since that happened, we've planned more products. We've planned a different line of products that we're launching next year. And we're working on all these new things, which basically make cooking easier and eating cleaner easier. And
that's wonderful, and I must say that, and I'm sorry to cut you here, but I must say that it is completely to your credit, and to everyone who won. Because I just want people to realize that what happened in Home Chefis. So in Home Chefis, 13, 14 categories, and we had 800 odd entries, not 800 individuals, but because some people did multiple categories. And, the judging was completely scientific. So it was an Excel sheet which one created basis weightages and all that. And, ex-market research person. And the judges were people who are not from the food industry. So and they got very excited, but they didn't really know what was happening in food and stuff. So the fact that, first of all, you were one and you were in the top 10 in your category is a big thing, because I thought I knew some people who were doing fabulous work in Mumbai, and I thought that they would be the winners. I mean, and no discredit to them, but the winners were from everywhere. So it takes a lot of, I mean, very few, you're one of the very few people whom I knew and whose work I admire who actually won. I don't know if I'm the unlucky mascot, but the fact that the judges are getting so excited that, they were coming across their names and the work and they were ordering and stuff. So that was the idea. I mean, it was one, to sort of show what is happening, and two, this is just a beginning. I mean, like you said, I mean, you're doing planning so much more. So
yeah,
before I get into the planning so much more, again, MBA textbook stuff, but they say that a business eventually sort of defines its business vision, or they say that we are in the business of doing this or giving this or stuff like that. So 13 months down the line, do you and Mehul, do you guys have a vision? Did you always have a vision? Has there been a change?
the
Yeah, would love to
vision
hear that.
has the vision has always been to make people eat, like know what you're putting into your food and to into your
Okay,
mouth. That has
okay,
always been the vision. It has,
and make them realize the need to do so.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And also the fact that tomorrow, even if we touch wood, if we ever have like a manufacturing facility, it will still be the same.
Okay.
There will be no emulsifiers and all those things. And I feel
We are
like,
recording all of this, huh? No editing. So when you become like a huge brand, then we'll like, yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. Go ahead.
So yeah, I those things I've read so much, and those things have a very long term effect on your body, on your organs, on your kidney, on your liver. And the vision has always been to make pure recipes, which are, see, granola is something that our families never ate. So this is
Okay.
something different. But the products that we're foraying into also, though a lot of them are home recipes. A lot of them are recipes that I've come up with through my random cooking escapades in the kitchen. Um, the vision is always going to be to feed people and to help people understand what they're eating and not eat irresponsible.
Hmm. No, and I think that is great that some folks like you, people from the younger generation are thinking this way, because traditionally the thought process is that when you're young you can eat anything, and you don't really bother too much, and we've all been there, done there, and then when you're in
I've made that mistake.
a
Yeah, I've made
40s, 50s and stuff, then you start, okay, like can you tell me a bit
yeah,
about
I've made that
glycemic
mistake.
index?
The time of my life where I would like to go back to and change what I was eating is the time that I drastically became unhealthy. And I realized when I turned 30 that I can't climb a flight of stairs without losing my breath. And this is not right. I'm very young right now.
Exactly.
And the food choices just changed. Something changed overnight, and the food choices just changed. Like, I still enjoy my McDonald's once in a while. I
Huh.
love it. Pizza. I love all these things.
Huh.
But on a daily basis, you cannot eat this every day. And I
Exactly.
see your stories and your home food, and
Yeah.
that's exactly, and especially a place like
Can you
India.
believe it? Today I had rice, dal, and lau, which is lauki. My mom
Same
would
here.
not believe it. Oh, you also
Same
had
here.
rice, dal, and lauki.
Yeah.
Baap re. Yeah.
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 So no, these things, and now for Loki, for example, in
Yeah,
India,
I
how
would never
many
touch
ways
lauki.
of Loki?
And I
Huh?
would never touch it till my wife also till 5 years back. And now we ask for it. We have our own point of view,
And
and
people
I
say,
think that's where
"Arey,
someone like you, when you say that, like you said, that now I will make it interesting to you. I think that makes a big difference.
huh?" That's the thing. See, Loki tastes horrible. But we're in India. You know how many types of Loki ka sabzi you can make. You
I
know.
remember there was this ad long time back, wasn't it Cadbury or someone that asked dinner mein kya hai? Loki. Come on, get out the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sonali, do you see this change happening among your contemporaries, like your generation and the people who are starting to watch now, and your friends and your cousins and all that? Are people getting a bit more conscious
Much
about what
more
they're eating?
conscious. Absolutely.
Oh,
Much more.
Baby Loaf is here.
Hi.
He's
Oh,
very conscious about what he eats. He doesn't eat only. He's unlike his younger
lean.
brother. Unlike his younger brother, who gives me no problem. But yeah, coming back to this thing. So, do you see that people getting more conscious about what they're eating? And
Definitely so.
so, how
Everyone.
do your friends react to like your what you're doing now? Because they knew you as this interior designer and someone who loves to food. Abhi granola bana rahe hai. So, how's the reaction to it?
Most of my closest friends always knew, even before I knew, that I will end up in food. Because, and my mom also says the same thing today. She says, if my dad was here today, he would say the same thing as well. That my mom gets angry with me because I don't have any of her serial, whatever, Star Plus channels on my TV in my room. I only have food channels and lifestyle
What do you
channels in my
watch? What do you like watching?
TLC. I watch TLC. I watch Food. I watch
Uh,
all the this my TV. If it's ever on, it's always a food show. And I haven't been able to travel too much in my life, but I have traveled through the TV, and
yeah,
that's
and
where I
traveling happens with the age. I mean, I don't think at 20, 30, most of any of us have traveled too much.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and whatever I know about food, like even Mehul says, "How do you know this? You've never been there." I'm like,
Huh.
TV. I watch everything. Like you'll watch a show on Spain, or you'll watch
Yeah, yeah,
Jamie Oliver in Italy, or
yes.
I love Jamie Oliver, by the way. Love him with all my heart.
His enthusiasm is really,
Yeah, and
rubs
how
off
he
on.
just throws things together, not like how we Indians
Yeah,
cook. Arey,
yeah,
ye masala, he
yeah.
throws things together, it turns out amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So most of my even flavors that I think about come from a lot of it comes from what I've seen on TV or what I know works. And that day, Mehul was like, "How do you know this will work?" I said, "Because these are flavors I know work together. Because of how many like books also I have a lot of. I just got I got this gifted this really nice coffee table book about the biryanis of India.
Oh.
So I haven't opened it yet. And I love these are the gifts I love. Either you give me food or books about food.
Or both together, because like if you're hungry at night,
Yeah.
then what to? Okay, so I want to now ask you that in your granolas, I know that you put in local ingredients like ragi, then date powder, jaggery at times. Then so tell me some of the introductions which you consciously did of local ingredients in your existing range.
Yeah, so ragi is so versatile. Like I sometimes eat a ragi bhakri for lunch.
Yeah, yeah.
So and ragi is again low GI. It's a lot of fiber. So these it's very good.
So ragi
Uh,
is the same as nachni, right? No,
yes,
nachni
nachni is
is
ragi, no? Yeah,
ragi. So the
yeah.
amaranth is what? Amaranth
Um,
is
Rajgira.
rajgi. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So that also I know because we used to have Rajgira laddus for Diwali.
Yes.
So, and I tried to source honey that's local from like local farmers. Sourcing has been very difficult for somebody like me who has no in anywhere,
Yeah, no, you
from
don't have
home
any
to,
industry contact.
yeah. So how do
Yeah,
you find it? We've been making crazy amounts of calls, talking to people. People don't entertain you because your quantities are not that much.
yeah, yeah.
So it's very difficult to find ingredients. We have recipes written out for things, but we're not finding ingredients and suppliers. So that's
Who
also
knows? Maybe
tough.
someone might listen to you and connections might form. Because I have interviewed some people on Foodocracy for like straight away, like Mehul of Fairer Foods, for example, who's sourcing spices and launching her spices. Then it's the folks behind Chaika Tea who are sourcing teas like that. So I'm seeing that there are a lot of people, women, because I've been interviewing a lot of women, but sort of who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and who are sort of understanding the value of this, who are now themselves working and trying to get these ingredients. And I'm sure that as all of you start looking beyond your businesses, once you get your own toehold, I'm sure there'll be a lot of collaborative work which will happen, because they will, it's when you've done it yourself that you understand that mindset. Like you said, I mean, a
Exactly.
big wholesaler will wonder that why just 1 liter of honey, but they will understand because
Exactly.
they have gone through the same thing to get 30 turmeric bottles.
Yeah.
They've not done
Something very
2000.
interesting I noticed recently is like a couple of companies, I can't get the names immediately, but a couple of
Hmm.
companies have launched websites or some sort of shops or things like that where they do small quantities of things for smaller companies.
Like even you, like I mean, these packages, like typically one comes of across unit sizes which are much larger in granola or cereals, but you want to like try new things. And
Yeah. So even
so
the
you
packages were difficult to figure out where to get it from. And
hmm.
most companies we came across said that you need to buy 20,000
And how
before.
did you do it? Through internet searches by finding these
Yes.
people and all that?
Google. Google is the best.
It's a lot of hard work, huh?
Lots of hard work, lots of research, and then lots of frustration because you're not finding the right person. But even our packages now we're trying to upgrade, we're trying to go through. I'm not very happy with the plastic, so I want to go to something that's biodegradable. So we're
Hmm.
even talking to a couple of companies for that. Just slowly, one step at a time, because we don't even have any external investment or anything like that. It's all just both of us.
Yeah. But I am as I heard you speak, and I'm thinking of so many of the interviews which one has done over the last 18, 19 months, or maybe 16. I know so many people who are talking of the sort of thing which you're doing, and everyone's coming in with different products, spices. Some are going to the core products, like you said, sourcing honey. Some are coming with, the first level thing and stuff. I'm quite convinced that this new generation, new movement which is coming out is going to create its own ecosystem, and then it won't be
Absolutely.
dependent on the down with patriarchy sort of thing and money hacks. Yeah. So now, what next? Because you've done granola, which is a sort of Western product in a sense, and you've brought in some Indian elements to it. But you've also realized that your vision is to make sure that people are conscious about what they're consuming. So that is what you are. You're not just in making
Yes.
granola or just breakfast. Maybe this is step one. So what are some of the plans which you have, which you would like to share, perhaps? And who knows, maybe someone might hear you and come up with some solutions.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Sourcing has been a nightmare, but yeah. So we are planning to launch spice mixes, which are like home recipes, either my grandmom or somebody from Mehul's side, or some of them are even my own recipes. And these are just going to make it easier for people who don't want to spend lots of time cooking, or who just don't think and order from outside. But then now what they can do is they can either just throw in some spice with a protein, some vegetables, or even into rice, and
Hmm.
make like a flavored rice or a flavored meal with very easy ready-made spice mixes, which again are just going to be purely just spices. no too far things,
No food
as I call
things.
it. Yeah.
And yeah, and you were also telling me about trying to try a more sugar-free sort of.
Yeah, so we are also launching two sugar-free flavors,
Hmm,
which are only sweetened with pure dates, no honey. So they'll also be vegan now,
yeah.
because vegans don't eat honey, which
Hmm.
for some reason I was unaware of. My bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
No, but I do remember working with a vegan products company, and they've come up with a vegan honey. So yeah, I mean, like you said, but what I'm saying is that that might be for a very small percentage who are really keen to still have the honey.
but something you might not know is I was approached by a Jain gentleman. A
Huh.
lot of staunch Jains don't eat honey as well.
Because of the same thing, no? Because for Jains, there's a thing about any living beings or microbes.
Correct.
That's why they don't have root vegetables because it's pulled out of the
But then I
ground.
spoke to some other Jains who are like, no, honey is very okay. So
Yeah,
to be fair, I want to not lose out on, I don't want anyone to lose out on trying it. And I don't want to lose out on different communities of people, the vegans,
exactly,
the Jains. I want
exactly.
everyone to try it.
Well,
So
sometimes you might come up with nicer products sometimes by those experimentations. And
yeah,
well, I wanted to tell you this when you were talking about Rajgira, Jawar Bhakri, and all that. That earlier I was speaking to Mr. Amitabh, Mr. Abhijit Banerjee, who's a Nobel Prize winner in economics in 2019. So he's written a cookbook called "Cooking to Save Your Life." So where Abhijit Banerjee was saying, and he's a very interesting combination. His father, Bengali, mother Maharashtrian. So from Calcutta, but he said that when he used to come home in summer holidays to his mama's house and all of that, it was about he was saying that what happened to Jawar Bajra Bhakris, and people don't know that, and sometimes it gives us such a different texture from having say a naan, or like
yeah,
even naan. If you see, there's so much volume. So when you're having naan and say your butter chicken, then you're having an equal amount. While say you're having like a nice, komrichi rasa, and
yeah,
with that you sort of take a rice bhakri and it sort of
rice one.
melts into it. So I think it's, I mean, the way you're thinking is, I think the way the world is thinking. So I think
Moving.
that that's great. And from what I understand, no plans right now to get back to interior designing, right?
So far, I'm overwhelmed with work over here in a very
Yeah.
good way. I'm thankful, and we'll see when we can scale up and when I can have maybe a production unit or something like that. Then maybe I will still do that because that's what I think I've been doing since I got out of school. Because dad was an architect and interior designer, so I started working with him as soon as I got out of school, and then I got my certification later. So yeah, both can work, hopefully.
Yes, yes. So, in a way, it's a similar concept because an interior design, I mean, philosophically, is about sort of designing the house and the place you're going to live in. And what you're doing is designing food for the body. It's which is what you actually live in.
Actually live in
I had thought of this right now. You can use that.
water. Wow.
Yes. So this is Sonali Naik, and Divine Flavors is her brand. Currently, she is into granolas, and while she's based in Mumbai, you can find her on the Divine Flavors website or on Instagram, and she will send it to you anywhere. Currently in India, do you send it other ways places as well outside the country? She's frozen. Oops, we lost the internet for a moment, but got it back. And both my cats are awake and demanding my attention. Sonali and Mehul very sweetly, in the Diwali gift, made it a point to write that it's for Baby Loaf and Little Nimki. So there they are. Well, anyway, like I said, Divine Flavors are there on Instagram, on their website, and they deliver across India, across Mumbai, across the world. Yet
Across India for now.
across India for now. Maybe you can get some of your relatives to carry it for you if you're not based in India. And let me say that our stuff comes highly recommended. We love it. Our friends love it. Our friends from other cities who've shipped it in, they've loved it. and we loved your story, and I'm sure it's going to inspire lots and lots of people. So happy Diwali! It's also Happy New Year for the Gujaratis. You
Yes,
know,
I
and
will.
may you guys finish the year on a high and get up for the new year.
Thank you so much.
Charlotte, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I'll remember you guys while opening these and munching them too.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
Absolute
you.
pleasure. Bye.
Bye.
Sorry.